All right. So welcome since we're live. Let's get a little formal. Okay, this is what? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. And this is you know, Friday night court of public opinion, right? And I'm gonna do it a little different tonight because I wanted to actually bring some folks in that's on fire. So I don't, you know, so I don't go on my own thing. We're gonna talk strictly tonight. As you can see, we're gonna always represent. Let me get my gavel out. Okay, that's officially okay. Court is now in session, right? And y'all know what it is. The actual business is reparations, right? What's the movement? What is the movement? That's the movement, right? But we're gonna talk about this immigration, illegal immigration. Like I said, I don't like to call people illegal aliens, but they are definitely illegal immigrants. And no disrespect to those who are immigrants who got here legally and went through what they've gone through, the process, the proper channels to be here in America. But for those who have not, we are saying no. We are saying absolutely not. And it's obviously a government some kind of scam, right? And that's why I said I don't want to just get into it like I'm the only one who feels this way, because uh we here on the West Coast, especially again in California, being so close to the border, this aside of course from Texas and whatnot, but having San Diego here in Southern California, and again California was a part of Mexico, we know that. So or it's South America, I should say. Um, which made it a part of Mexico. And again, there's so much politics that goes with that here in California, because you ask me, Mexico still owns quite a bit of California, Texas, and New Mexico. Okay. But here specifically in California, especially because I came from Los Angeles, living in Orange County, which is closer to Diego. And then if you spend any time in San Diego, you already know what it is. Folks are going back and forth daily, living in Mexico, working in America, getting way more bang for their buck going across that border. So like I said, the politics of what goes on here, period. I'm sure we're still the state with the most. Why I'm gonna say the most? Because like I said, Texas is but anyway, I'm not going to say anything other than we cannot afford to take in any more illegal immigrants, okay? And especially not at the numbers that they're coming in, and they're not only coming from South America at this point in droves. It used to be, it wasn't even economical for people to do what they're doing. And probably isn't economical now, by no means. But they're taking chances to be in America, including risking the lives of their women and children. And sorry and sad to say, but in droves, it just can't. We cannot afford it. And Black Native Americans specifically need to get involved, because this coming from the government is a complete slap in our faces. And we would be fools to not at this time stand up, okay, and get heavily involved. okay, and continuously put the cry for reparations first. And then after that, we need to be dealing seriously with this immigration thing, or illegal immigration crossing these borders. And again, this is not about the people, because there's no way that they could be coming in droves like this, especially these countries sending their criminals here. They wouldn't be coming in droves if it were not being allowed. Okay. And again, not only is it being allowed and somehow orchestrated by governments across this world, not just this country, there's some backdoor meetings going on, again, where I've even heard the conversation on the East Coast where, because it's so heavily, again, with people from overseas, not South America, there's a confusion going on there, where it's kind of like, well, this is what America is. No, America has never been walk up in this thing and you just gonna, put some, and we're gonna spend billions of dollars across the nation paying for illegal immigrants. No. America has always been, you gotta pay to play. And for what's going on right now, folks need to be complaining about it. And even you people on the East and Southeast Coast with who come from overseas, who may have a different understanding, you need to fully understand that the price you paid, you got to remember that. Remember that. Okay? Because there are no people who legally come here from another country. So people from Japan have to make decisions. They got to decide, because there is no dual citizenship. If you come to America from Japan, you have to decide some things. You want to be an American, you're going to be a full-blooded American. You can give up, you're going to be a Japanese American. You're not going to be Japanese and dual citizen. Okay, so and on top of that, to make that decision, you got to pay that price. Okay, you have to pay. You have to pay. Okay, so that's why I said it wasn't happening like this, because in no time in history were people able to cross borders illegally, come in and claim asylum from country. Asylum from China? Are you kidding me? Get out of here. And again, and people have to prove, and they have to come from literal war-stricken countries. You don't just, I up and decide, TikTok said, are you kidding me? TikTok said we can get in over here because and and you got people coming from Africa, from all continents. Okay, so we're not talking about just South America here. We're talking about people coming from everywhere illegally, and they coming, of course, through that from the South. But they flying into Mexico or wherever and coming in wherever, through those different places that TikTok and whatever this underground railroad of illegal immigration is coming from. And again, we as Black natives, we need to get real about the outrage here, because if you're not outraged, you're a fool as a Black Native American, especially when you got other immigrants trying to come in and exploit your tax dollars. Okay, I don't have a problem with all Americans across the board. Again, I don't mind my tax dollars paying for the underprivileged Americans and even legal immigrants who may need some support. Okay, but my tax dollars, and I've been working since I was 13 and a half years old. Okay, so and behind somebody who was paying some taxes, believe that. And you will never be able to tell me mine's as full-blooded Americans. Okay, I'm a full-blooded American, period. You're not gonna be able to tell me that you deserve to just walk up in this country, okay, after the bloodshed of my ancestors who built this sucker. Then we have, again, people who are legally migrating. And then we have a whole population of immigrants who are not even seeking citizenship. They have work visas and whatnot. So you all are supposed to jump over and supersede these people who have come here legally, paid the price, going through the process, done worked 10 years with work visas, and have not been offered citizenship. But you can come through illegally, crossing a border, and decide that you can stand in a line and get get out of here. Again, not to mention that they are bringing in a population of criminals. That's a problem, and we need to be serious about it. We need to not be sitting around acting like this is a game, because it's not a game, and it's about this American society and our freedom and our safety. If you have criminals coming into your country, coming into your cities, okay, you're not, again, there are some seeking asylum, but not in droves as such as this. And again, there's no way that they're doing this in certain governments, local governing officials are sitting behind closed doors with all this smoke and mirrors talking about helping. We have a homeless problem with American citizens right now in this country. We have a problem with equity and equality right now with American citizens across the board. Okay. And I'm talking about all races, all nations, all people who have paid the price through generations, all the way up until now. Like I said, folks who are here on work visas, we all need to be coming together and standing together and saying this immigration thing is a problem. Okay. And leading, it needs to be Black Native Americans. If you've never stood for anything, you need to stand for something now. And first and foremost, we are not giving away tax dollars to illegal immigrants. I'm looking at the chat now. Yep. Hey, I'm looking at the chat. Like, do I look? Okay, I see the chat. And again, I just wanted to say, because I should be looking and giving highly. I'm looking at the chat. That's why I closed my window in. However, I'm also trying to sync some more folks speaking. So, okay, and I need to say fair use. So there's going to be a lot of fair use here. I'm live, but of course this is being recorded and it'll be up here. So, and just because I'm like, let's take a little breather. You can call or text 626-536-0051. If you want to, you can speak through. If you want to speak, you can call and I'll just put you on speakerphone. If you want to text because you actually want to get the link, I can email you the link if you text me your email address. So that's just, FYI, and that's how we're going to run this thing. And I'm not bringing anyone on tonight because, like I said, I've been on YouTube and I really want to make sure that I have a recording with other public folks speaking. And again, not only will I be looking out for the chat, but you can actually text me or call and I will pick up and you will be live rocking with me for this recording. But again, okay, now let's go ahead and present. Let's present. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to look up some of these videos because this is a serious thing here. Okay, first of all, before we do that, I'm gonna run a little quick test just for my own And also for you all's FYI. So we're gonna do a couple of things tonight. So I really would like for folks to chime in, but more importantly, I want us to get seriously and actively involved in both of these cries. The cry that, you know, I'm only continuing something that my ancestors started for Black folks, Black Native Americans of America, in our reparations. And then also, we need to stand up for you know, for ourselves, because we've lost all of our cities, you know, our communities within cities. Okay. And if you look, they're all immigrants, whether they're illegal or legal. Okay. And not only have we not received any reparations for the or we haven't been compensated for the 40 acres and a mule that we never received. So again, we're not asking for something that, you know, no, we're asking for, no, we're demanding that we are owed something. Okay. And we need to get serious about that. And again, when people start questioning, you know, well, why should we pay for reparations and our tax dollars and a blah, blah, blah? Well, are you saying that about the immigrants? See, because that's what I'm going to need to know. If you're not going to answer any other question, I need to know, are you saying this very same thing about this millions that nobody's even asking you about? Yeah, we need to illegal. I'm talking about having a problem with illegal immigration. Yes, we need to unite about if you're going to help, you need to be helping immigrants who are willing to do the right thing. Let's see. Window. I'm trying to set up and make sure I am sharing my screen. Give me a second. Are we sharing the screen? I don't know why I can't see it. Here we go. See, it does this. What are we doing here? Mm-mm. Okay, I don't know if you all see how. Yeah, that's why I said I'm doing a little test to see, and I have no idea why that's happening. Yeah, that worked or didn't. Let's see. Okay. I have to excuse me, but I'm. Let's see. Yes, immigration is definitely what we need to be talking about. And on top of that, we need to be making sure that we are, while we talking about immigration, and because this is where we get stuck. Maybe I don't need to do that one yet. Yeah, I want to just, before I'm trying, family, to split the screen and run this trailer first, just so when I set up these other ones, I know that it's happening. Present, slides, extra camera, no extra camera. Select the tab. Here we go. I don't know why that was so difficult. I guess because here we go. So there we go. All right.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land.
White slave owners who had slaves were given reparations and given compensation by this government.
This year, we mark the 400th anniversary of the first enslaved Africans arriving at the colony of Jamestown, Virginia.
There has been no real commitment to reparation and to truth and reconciliation for people of African descent.
The courts of the United States of America have been hostile to reparations.
It is owed to us. We have, our family, our ancestors have worked for free.
It is only this group that can singularly claim to have been slaves under the auspices, the institution, and leadership of the United States government.
Let's not forget that race is central to anything we do around economic justice.
The greatest damage that enslavement did, besides the economic damage, besides the normalization of torture, of rape, is the institution in the American mind that Black people are necessarily inferior.
Today's hearing on H.R. 40 and the path to restorative justice gives us the opportunity to reflect on the shameful legacy of slavery and Jim Crow in this country.
We have to have a proposition of what change we want, because they're not going to think about what they want to give us.
We need to understand all these years that we've been free of slavery, we did not touch upon the subject that was really significant. Begins with the diet, because we are stressed. All of us are sick, including Dr. Sebi.
If we want change, we gotta want to deal with our projects. Correct those that rob, make it still in our projects.
So I think that it's important that we think about what we want and plan.
We must create programs and projects that are geared towards dealing with the issues that we know are not being addressed.
And it is all about us kind of stepping to the forefront and understanding that we're the children of slaves.
As for reparations, I definitely believe that there should be something done.
We decided what our reparations should be.
Something needs to be done to repair the damage done to us as a people.
We have to separate the moral justice of the reparations claim from any notion of reparations as a political project.
You got a right to use any means necessary.
This is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, we are coming to get our check.
That's right. You heard that. When we come to Washington, we are coming to get our check. And that's the end of that. That's all I got to say about that. Right. And we're not coming to be paying taxes for illegal immigrants to get $1,000 a month to the tune of billions of dollars. That's not going to be okay. That's not going to be okay. Okay. Indeed. Okay, so let's get to this next one. I'm gonna present this one. I found what I'm looking for. Here we go. So let's just roll with this one, because I want you to feel me when I say this is a serious thing. Make sure how long.
Day.
And other items while trying to make an arrest inside that shelter. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has sort of stayed more tight-lipped on this.
That they cannot work. They have to sit around all day. Things like this.
So again, this is fair use. We're just, again, dealing with this situation going on. Not necessarily,
City spending on the migrant crisis by an additional 10% on top of the 20% in cuts he had already announced.
Yeah, and he says all of those citywide budget cuts have now been canceled. Our NJ Burkett sat down with the mayor this morning for that exclusive interview. He joins us now from City Hall. NJ.
Good morning, Kurt and Rosanna. Well, the mayor says that past administrations have placed limits on how the city can interact with ICE. But given these recent violent attacks against police officers, well, the mayor wants to do more about this and also make sure that those individuals are taken off New York City streets. Go ahead.
Right. So he's trying to get the criminals off the streets, but they're coming in by the thousands and thousands freely. And then you got them
Move the migrants, and that's when officers were thrown, objects were thrown at officers. Yesterday on Fox 5, the mayor was also asked questions about the controversial prepaid debit card plan for 500 migrant families.
How the mayor is responding, Morgan. Yes, Steve and Natasha, that video of the scuffle between migrants and police was posted to TikTok. The Adams administration is still currently reviewing whether to install metal detectors at some of these shelter locations.
Hi, Josh. Good morning. Yeah, once again, a violent encounter between NYPD officers and some of the migrants here in the city is captured on video. This time from inside a shelter on Randall's Island. It's just the latest in a series of violent encounters, again, between officers and some migrants in the city. In the scuffle, you can see some officers are clocked in the head with a backpack, water bottles, and other items while trying to make an arrest inside that shelter. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has sort of stayed more tight-lipped on this one, but he says the circumstances are under review. And yesterday he said this is what happens when work visas are not expedited. He also called on Washington for more help. In another case, several migrant men have been charged for their alleged roles during an assault on a pair of
Pause. So this is what happens when work visas are not given to people who have illegally crossed the border. Is that how we're gonna throw this? That must be some anyway. That's ridiculous. Once again, that is utterly ridiculous to blame this on someone not being able to go to work. I'm not trusting that. This is incredibly ridiculous. Okay. And the crowds of immigrants illegally here, okay, who are willing to throw them bows and fisticuff up in here, fight the police, come on. Okay, again, this should have every person, every American, as well as every legal immigrant and person in here with a legal work visa outraged. This because it's a total disrespect to the system that has been functioning the way it's been functioning for years. All of a sudden, we're stuck here. This is what we're stuck with. And again, this is just what's going on in New York. We're gonna do it around the world. I got time tonight, family. I got time, family. Let's go.
NYPD officers in Times Square. Prosecutors say Yohenry Brito was at the center of that attack. He was back in court yesterday for a bail hearing after he initially posted $15,000 bail. The court is now looking into where that money came from, but the police union says bail should not even be on the table.
What makes anybody think that he's going to behave on the streets of the city of New York?
In an exclusive Eyewitness News interview, Mayor Adams announced that funding for asylum seekers will be cut back by 10% on top of a previous 20% cut, for nearly 1/3 cut back on city spending for migrants.
When we inherited this, we were in an emergency state. Emergency conditions cost more money. We're now transitioning into a stabilized state because this is going to be here for a while. So by doing that, we can renegotiate contracts. We can look at long-term planning. We're not using this as an emergency. Although we're in a crisis status, we're treating it differently because the emergency still exists.
If this program is successful, then they plan on expanding it to even more migrant families. That's the latest here in Midtown. Kurt and Rosanna will send things back inside.
So with Brito's court record, prosecutors say he had 4 previous arrests for petty larceny, and they've constantly gone back to that in court, arguing, making the case for some type of bail, for him to be held on some type of bail. Now, New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
Okay, again, even if they're in jail, that's still housing and feeding them. Okay, when are they getting deported up out of here? Okay, and again, I don't want to hear anything about. So, what's the excuse for the American citizens? I don't see you all releasing American citizens out who are doing crimes such as these. You're not. It's not happening. So, what is this leniency? And what is this? This is happening, and so some kind of pity for criminals. What is the false pretense that these people are actually seeking asylum and refugees of sorts? There's no proof of it. All there is people entering illegally and begging. You have a bunch of beggars and wonton folk coming up in here trying to get some stuff. I mean, again, and a side note, I work in one of my many, but in the leasing, okay, industry. And I've seen several, once again, from Russia, from the Ukraine, and then again, Russia and Ukraine in general, a lot of them can come seeking asylum, and they've gone through the proper channels and whatnot, but they are getting certain benefits and whatnot, Social Security cards, get to build credit. Who knows what their credit was in their own country, but they come here and get 800 credit scores because we have other people telling them exactly how to do it. And again, even with that jump start and all that, they still went through legal channels. Okay. I also see people coming who came through Mexico. And I mean, I'm not gonna just like start naming races, but I will say this one couple, they were from China, and I'm gonna say that. Why? Because a little couple, they spoke a little bit of English, okay, enough to do what they had to do, and told me that they came through Mexico. Okay, now I don't know how they came through Mexico, but they had Canadian ID, because so as long as they had some, because you could show them something, but they had Canadian ID. And then she said, and she was pregnant. So the main thing was basically, I'm like, well, do you need they wanted a month-to-month lease, or they want to know the shortest, because they just wanted to have a baby here in America. Okay. So again, can we afford this type of thing going on in our country in the numbers that it's going on? No, we cannot. We cannot. And again, Biden is totally incompetent. Okay, and everybody knows it. He and Wendy Williams are about the same status, darn near, other than they're dressing him up better than they're dressing her up. And yet he's running the country. Wendy Williams got to sit down, but Biden is running this country. And that could very well be the reason why we're dealing with this catastrophe. And it is a catastrophe what's going on. And again, these criminals, I'm not talking about people who are not criminals, but when you have thousands and thousands of people on a daily coming into a country, and they're all men between the age of 25 and 40, that's a problem. And it's a danger to the women and children of this country. Okay.
Said yesterday that he supports the city keeping its sanctuary status, but he does want the city council to reverse a measure that keeps officers from working with ICE to deport or detain migrants who commit violent felonies. So a lot more developments as we continue to follow the migrant crisis here in New York City. Josh.
After 2 rounds of punishing budget cuts to all but the most essential city services, the budget is stabilizing, and a planned 3rd round will no longer be necessary.
What does it mean for New Yorkers? How should people look at this, Mayor?
Well, if we had to do the 3rd rounds, it would impact garbage pickup. It would impact services to our older adults. It would impact libraries. It would impact a series of services that you would actually see the difference.
This marks the potential start of a third world war, and we will soon be hit with a silent, untraceable attack on America that unfortunately very few will see coming.
Yes. And anytime you have 3,000 people who are placed in an environment that they cannot work, they have to sit around all day, things like this have the potential to happen. And I've said this over and over again. But
we are managing it differently.
Adams says the city's economic recovery will bring in better than expected tax revenue. The announcement comes one day after the administration was praised by the independent credit rating agency Moody's for its handling of the city's budget crisis.
We are far from out of the woods, but we're showing that we can manage this crisis if we watch how we spend and we manage the spending that we're seeing in the city.
Well, the mayor says the cutbacks to migrant spending will take place in the coming weeks. We'll have much more from my interview with Mayor Adams and reaction to it coming up on Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock tonight.
Adams on Tuesday also responded to questions about the incident that occurred at Times Square. According to police, they asked a group of migrants acting disorderly to disperse. And when one man refused, they attempted to place him under arrest, which is when a group of around a dozen migrants ganged up on the officers, kicking them repeatedly. However, according to the body cam footage, the man arrested, Yohenry Brito, was walking away slowly when in Spanish he called one of the officers an ugly Betty.
Yes, Mayor Adams says he is slashing funding for asylum seekers and counting on better than expected tax revenue. City agencies got the call about an hour ago that another round of drastic cutbacks to city services will not happen. Mean more money for city services. Yes, Mayor Adams says he is slashing funding for asylum seekers and counting on better than expected tax revenue. City agencies got the call about an hour ago that another round of drastic cutbacks to city services will not happen.
Right.
You're not going to see some of those draconian steps that we were going to have to take that's getting in the way of the cleanliness and the safety of our city.
So you say it's good news?
It's great news.
Mayor Adams says New Yorkers should feel relieved.
So the mayor was also asked how the city planned on keeping tabs on migrants to ensure that the money doesn't go to other things besides food and baby products. The mayor didn't have a clear answer on that, but he says
that's when the officer grabs Brito, moves him to the wall of a building, and attempts to place him under arrest. Adams says he has not watched the whole video, but says regardless, no one can attack police officers like this group did.
Under no circumstance should we ever give the belief to anyone, migrant or non-migrant, that you have the authorization to try to grab a police officer's gun, to kick an officer, to fight an officer. We should never do that.
The mayor says migrants will be given $13 a day for food and baby products.
It's also not.
Again, I'm going to say this. Let me stop sharing real quick. And I'm going to get these New York folk out of here. Again, and did he say $13 a day? That's times 4. That's what that $1,000 is supposed to be for. I don't even believe they're giving. Well, in Georgia, they've never had cash aid. Okay, Black Native Americans in Georgia, they don't have cash aid. You might be able to go get some food stamps or something and some medical benefits, but you're not getting any cash aid. Never have been able to. Those are American citizens. Okay. And again, they have like a jurisdiction, what is it, a tri-jurisdiction kind of thing with, I believe it's Alabama and Florida. But whatever the case might be, they have very similar laws because again, it's like a tri-system. Okay. And again, that is, in my opinion, the reason why we have so many college graduates or even just professionals that don't. I mean, we have builders in Georgia, down in that area, in that tri area, that are Black and successful because again, there's no codependency on a welfare system. Okay, even myself, when I went to Georgia with my 3 children, okay, I was not able to go down there and get on welfare. So I went down there and worked my butt off, okay, and became a part and well intricately knitted into the community, the Black Native American community, as well as just the Pan-African community at large. And I got engaged and I got involved. And again, I've been doing hair since I was 13, okay, making money since I was 15. Okay, so professionally making money doing hair. So again, I went down there, did hair. I went down there and worked for the one and only marketing black churches and businesses, Atlanta Black Agenda, the Overground Railroad. Again, I became involved in my community because there was, and not just because, but again, I had no alternative to doing what I needed to do as an American, not being codependent on government subsidies and whatnot. Okay, with 3 children. Okay, and again, these people who are coming here, like these men coming here by themselves, no family, seeking asylum. Why? And then even I don't know what's going on. I am certainly not in agreement with it. And I'm in fact just as fired up as the rest of these folks. So let's get back to them, because I've been talking, but like I said, I'm not gonna be the only one on this tip. Y'all gotta know and see that nobody in their right mind is playing when it comes to this subject matter. Okay. So here we have our folks in Chicago. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's been running.
Public comments now.
The council will now begin the public comment period, which is limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speakers cannot yield or transfer their time to another speaker. Any written comments that have been submitted will be posted and made available for automatic review. Our first speaker today is Lisa Bowden.
Lisa Bowden is not present.
Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Good morning to my Black people here. This is disgraceful. This is Black History Month, and I see some of our beautiful ladies having on these African garments. You don't show your Blackness by how you dress. You show your Blackness by how you vote.
Right.
When you have these woke revolutions, it requires all of us at some point to say, no, not going to do this. A nation has to have civic education. They have to know what the Constitution is. They have to know what the First Amendment.
Whatever they talking about now, they want to skip. Yeah, skip now that I unmuted you. There we go. Let me get this back.
That in these sanctuary, Black people need it. Now this over here, they very disrespectful African garments.
Let's start this again. Start it up.
Is George Blakemore.
George, give him his respect, right?
Good morning to my Black people here. This is disgraceful. This is Black History Month, and I see some of our beautiful ladies having on these African garments. You don't show your Blackness by how you dress. You show your Blackness by how you vote. And some of you voted for sanctuary. If anybody needs sanctuary, Black people need it. Now this over here, they very disrespectful. Michelle Harris and all of them just talking while I'm talking. They are part of the problem.
Right.
The Black people have issues because you have poor Black leadership.
Right.
And Reverend Wu Wu got somebody up here praying for us. Just pray your way off this plantation. Pray your way into reparation.
Right.
This is disgraceful. No boycott. No Black, empty seats of Black people. When it was packed with these illegal immigrants and packed with these white Jews and white Arabs. Where are the black people? The ancestors hate you. They never knew that you were going to turn out like you are and do what you're doing. You're disgraceful. The miseducation of the black man, Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the black man. And what kind of man did they make on the plantation? Use your imagination. It started with an end. We got to purge ourselves of that and become strong black men and women. You got no representation. Black faces in high places, but no representation.
You heard him?
Sad. Look at here.
Black faces,
black
faces in high
you
places.
have no pride.
Okay, native.
You to the ancestors. If Dr. King could see this, Malcolm X and all our heroes and sheroes, and Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed no blacks if they knew they were slaves. Don't you know we still on the plantation? Don't let this fool you. Don't go there. You're not like these white Altons. You're not like these Hispanic Altons. You're not like the Asian Alton. You're a black Alton. And remember your blackness. Remember where you came from and how you got here. And you haven't got over, looking back, how I got over. You haven't got over the legacy of slavery. You're still on this white man's plantation in a high place.
Mr. Blackmore, thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Tawan Sims.
Who is Katie Porter? A fake and an accomplished actor. That's from Porter's Democratic colleague, who served with her for years. Katie Porter lined her pockets from a company that paid billions in fines after complaints it tricked homeowners into unauthorized.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I find it courageous.
Fair use.
Speak. I know y'all think it's entertaining.
Court of public
And
opinion.
a lot of us are bow our heads to it because we convicted by it. But we losing in this city, black people. I'm the young black man that love black people. I'm a young black man that's wild about black people. But I'm also the young black man in the city that's being underserved, mistreated, and just basically made to be invisible. I've been attacked in this city, shot multiple times. I've been pushed to the side by law enforcement. For what reason, I don't know. I'm attacked by judges. For what reason, I don't know. I guess it's for speaking up for black people. That's the only thing I could think about. But we just received new representation in Brandon Johnson. I was like, yeah, we got a smart black man in the school board, all these little different things. I was like, yeah. But then I think about other things. So to speak about what, I'm from Rogers Park. I'm from the north side for 30 years. I'm sure most of you all are here about Palino or East Rogers Park and not understand how can that be a part of the north side of Chicago? Multiple murders, unsolved. My brother was killed in 1995. His name is Walter Sims. I have not had a follow-up call. There was a young man murdered, a few months ago when the yellow line crashed. His name is Kenneth. He was murdered by a young man named Kamari. I know both of these young kids. Friends murdered, but one of them is going to get off because the charges that were filed against him were dropped. So the city is showing us that black lives don't matter or black life does not matter to it. And we being condemned in this sense. We being forgotten in that thought. So I'm the young black man, Tawan Sims, that love black people and want to see some type of resolve in it. Some reparation, maybe.
Right.
Some understanding.
Amen.
These are our electeds. We got Maria Haddon, Alderman Bill in the far south side. Everybody that should feel responsible. Everybody lining their pockets, everybody getting something out of it. Everybody, except for the people. So we ask, honestly, wholeheartedly, when do we get the consideration? When? Honestly.
Right.
I'm from your Ward 49. We got a congressional woman been in the office for 24 years. When do we get some consideration? No, don't shake your head, Maria, because I've been hitting you up for like, what, the last few weeks? I'm sleeping in the 24th district, woman, and you still ain't, please. But sorry, y'all.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
Think they get somebody out of here. Boy.
This bobblehead is just ridiculous. And did you notice who it is? That's right, none other than the man who will make this country great once again. Tagline, I'll be back in 2024. This Trumpinator bob.
Fair use.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sure everybody knows about a movie, Scarface, right? It's a classic, Al Pacino, right? Everybody knows about that movie. And we focus on the famous lines in that movie. You know, the acting and the hello to my little friend and all that. But it's the beginning of that movie that matters. When those words are coming up on that screen, that's what matters. And those words say, in May of 1980, Fidel Castro opened the harbor at Muro, Cuba, with the apparent intention of letting some of his people join their relatives in the United States. Within 72 hours, 3,000 U.S. boats were headed for Cuba. It soon became evident that Castro was forcing the boat owners to carry back with them not only their relatives, but the dregs of his jails. Of that 125,000 refugees that landed in Florida, an estimated 25,000 had criminal records. That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States.
So let's pause that just briefly right there. And I'm gonna run it back. Now, and let's be clear, because this is the court of public opinion, and this is what is this? A city council, public hearing, or the city council is hearing the public comments at this meeting, and these folks are serious about what they're speaking on. So nobody's getting up there throwing out numbers in front of city officials and council folk that are false. Okay, so this sister, no matter how you folks want to slice it, she's speaking facts. She's speaking facts, and I'm going to run this back because you need to understand that these are the facts. These are not made up misconceptions about what's happening.
Dregs of his jails. Of that 125,000 refugees that landed in Florida, an estimated 25,000 had criminal records. That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States right now. All this asylum seeking lie, all this about refugees, no. What's happening is they're emptying out the dregs of their jails into the United States, into our communities. They're junking up our country. And yeah, we feel some kind of way about it because it's our country. It's our country. People like Vasquez and them, look how disrespectful they are. Now, you just gave that man a resolution for his father's restaurant. And every time we get up and talk, he's working this room. Look at him. Look at him. But he wants his resolution for his father to be respected. Vasquez, Lopez, all them want their people to be respected, but they can't even give us the dignity for what we built, but them. Right. Ain't no question about it. Nothing. Yeah, Black History Month. the American descendants of slavery. And I want you to know, Brandon Johnson, I understand what Breakmore's saying about we still on the plantation, but what you're looking at right now, this is what a free Negro look like. And I'm telling you, we're going to get our city back. We're going to stand for our people. We're going to get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there. Anytime they can't give us 3 lousy minutes of their attention while we sit here and watch y'all get them all kind of money, you watch us. We black out here, and we're going to handle our business. You watch that. I'm a free black woman. This is how we get down.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
Rule number 3.
Okay. So I decided to stop sharing at this point just because, you know, that sister hit it right there on the head. It's a problem. It's a problem when, again, and that's what I said when I said Black Native Americans, and I'm being very specific, and I'm saying first and foremost, we need to be fighting for reparations. Period. Point blank. That's it. Okay, that's the first cry and call, because we are the last generation that should be crying for reparations. Okay, that's number one. And then again, you got to be serious when you're playing politics with minorities in mind, because she's not lying. We get zero respect from the brown community, okay, Latin, and that's a problem. And we as Black and brown people, because we are Black, brown, and red around this planet right here. We, you know, you can say whatever. I'm a Black Native American, and I know what I am, and a little bit of, you know, we ain't talking about the white, but again, we know what we are, and we need to separate and draw this line and demand that all these minorities recognize that they better listen and hear what we're saying, because we paved the way for them, okay? And all these rights and civil rights and all of these benefits that that's off the back of, number one, our labor, and then our taxes now on the current plantation where we calling it work, okay? And you don't want to hear what we have to say, and you have the nerve to have a comment and be racist and bigoted towards Black Native Americans, who are, in fact, again, we are brothers and sisters, but I'm saying Black Native first. I'm not talking about no Pan-African, none of that. I'm talking about Black Native Americans. And again, it's enough of us with a whole array of all kinds of everything that we're made of. That's why we are the epitome of what America is. And everybody better pay attention to what we're talking about, period. And if you don't want to pay attention, if the only thing that you want to respect about a Black Native American is a monkey shining, okay, a singing, dancing, buffooning nigga, then get out of here, because we are not politicking like that anymore, okay? We're not here as entertainment. We're not entertainment. We're not the help, okay? And you better recognize that that's where we're standing, 10 toes down on that. And again, and those who are weak, you need to sit down, okay? So that ones of us who still have some strength within us can fire up and get these youth fired up and involved. And at the end of the day, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to make sure that from the elders to the youth, okay, 18 to 108, okay, Black Native Americans need to be involved in making sure that our voices are heard and we are being respected. Our children need to be respected and not being pushed out of classrooms. Our families need to be respected and not being pushed into the corners of ghettos. Our ghettos need to be cleaned up if that's where we're going to live. Our tax dollars need to count. And again, we need to be standing up for being heard, okay? Not for our entertainment. I don't need to, again, we everybody wants to put millions of views on, and everybody want to run around and talk about our millions of views about Cat Williams clowning and all these other brothers joking, and once again, monkey shining. If we can get on here and monkey shine, it's all good. If I was up here monkey shining and doing Miss Cleo or some crazy stuff, I have a whole bunch of people lining up to try to see what I'm talking about, and can they get in the chat but blowing up my phone, right? If I was up here breast out, talking about dropping like it's how I turn around showing y'all the crack of my behind, it would matter. Okay, and I'm talking about, again, everybody, Black, Native Americans, you need to start putting some respect on your own person. Okay. And then you need to demand and command respect from the rest of these people. Okay. And again, we don't have to come trying to be other than self to be respected. And that's real talk. Okay. I'm not coming through here trying to over articulate a point or anything of the sort, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to say, again, bottom line, reparations. Okay. Reparations is way past due. And when we talk about reparations, it's for crimes that have been committed. It's for land that has been stolen, that is owed to us. Where are every Black Native American family should have inherited 40 acres in a mule. So you may not, we may not be accounting for these mules, right? But the acres ain't never changed acreage. Okay. Now let's go back to this California thing, because they, this people love to jump on this bandwagon. Again, some Democratic batteries in their back ass Negroes, okay, in California want to again come in under a grassroots movement that finally hit the surface, and now on the tail end, they got all these so-called scholars who went. I don't give a damn who went to college and who didn't go to college. Who cares? From if you went to college or not. If you're so educated and so balliness that you don't need your reparations and you don't care about the 40 acres that each Native American family should have, okay? Because again, the same way that the Native Americans, red men, have their reservations, we should not have reservations. We should have family property. And again, there are some Black folk who do have their property, but it ain't that 40 acres. It's some stuff that they acquired after the fact that those 40 acres were taken back or never given, because it was a little bit of both. Okay. And then not to mention the catastrophe that everybody wants to keep on trying to be hush-hush about with Katrina. Okay, everybody wants to talk about Katrina like it was isolated. No, but next to Katrina was Biloxi. That's where my family's from. So I'm going to talk about it, right? Okay, whole houses washed away. And they're breaking off 80-something, 90-something-year-old people who are the people who own it, right? They've given them $10,000. And the land is no longer theirs because of eminent domain or whatever you're going to call it, because of the natural disaster. The house is gone. Everything that was in the house. Okay, we had a family home, and I've talked about it before. I'm going to speak on it again. We had a family home from back in the 50s or earlier that my family in Biloxi, not too far from the coast, not too far from the water, we had just family heirlooms. So it was like a 2-bedroom house that was like our family Biloxi. Whenever my grandmother has several pictures every time she went to Biloxi, standing in front of our family home. It's like a little museum with all kinds of little trinkets and pictures and everything of our family in it. Okay. And the elder got $10,000, and that's all we've heard. And again, they know that not many of us, or no one, is really in Biloxi at this point. Okay. So it's just gone. It's just gone. Okay. And again, what 100 years from now, what my family is supposed to not even exist, and now we're gonna be there's gonna be all the Rodriguezes and the Gonzalez and the Chins and the Icebergs and the Rosenbergs and what. Let's be for real. Again, this is a cry that has to come down to this now generation. And when I say this now generation, understand that is everybody who is living right now. Okay, so we're not talking about the X and the now generation is all of us. Every last one of us, from the baby coming out the womb to the one who on their way to the tomb. Okay, and best believe our activists, our true elders and activists are on their way to, I am on my way out of here, no way, no how. The cry when you spread my ashes in my burial at sea, you better make sure that it say reparations better have been served to my people. Okay, because that's it, and that's all. That's it, and that's all. No more fighting for anybody else. Fight for yourself. Fight for yourself to be heard. Fight for yourself to be overstood, understood, understood. You feel me? And when you're fighting and when you're speaking for yourself, understand that you're representing the whole people here, and our lives depend on it. And when I say our lives, I mean our everlasting lives depend on this cry. Okay? We can be foolish enough to continue to entertain and care for and waste away taking care of all of these nations of people who don't even hear us, didn't even hear our ancestors cry. Or we can stop taking care of them and start taking care of our business. Okay, people talking about they standing on business. What business is that? If it ain't reparations, it don't matter. Because the only thing that matter right now is what? Reparations. Don't tell me about no Black Lives Matter if you ain't talking about reparations matter, because that's the only thing that matters right now. Okay, give the Black Jews, the original Jews, the real Jews, the Hebrew Israelites of this now generation, give us our just due. Okay, give us our just due. And we're not Amistad, we're not Africans, we're Black Native Americans, and we want our 40 acres. Okay, and this is not a cry for a band-aid. Okay, we don't need band-aids. We need real resolve. We need real repair. We need real solutions. Okay, and we need to be standing on that, 10 toes down, being heard, not being played with. Stop playing. Stop playing. Okay, and for the monkey shining, like I said before, you keep on shining all you need to get up there. But when you get all the way up there, I want you to make that sacrificial call, brothers and sisters. You need to make that sacrificial call. Okay, no matter what at the end of the day it brings. You want the hee-hees and the ha-has, and you want the Oscars, and you want the Grammys for the hypocrisy and the mediocreness. You want y'all, Precious and Monique, and she was Precious was the most atrocious. Every movie, I want to know one movie you niggas really sitting up here acting like that old nigga monkey shine ignorant mess, and you worried about Oscars and Grammys for individuals, but you're not worried about reparations for all of us. Get out of here. Like I said, you need to stop monkey shining, stop being the help, stop being the entertainment, okay, and start standing up for the generations that are to come, because our lives are depending on it. And when I say our lives, I mean our everlasting lives are depending on it. Okay, there's no way in the world that we're not going to survive this. Okay, we're already losing. Okay, we have no cities. Okay, Chicago, you see what they're doing, and that was one of the last of the Detroit. You see how they cleaned it out. Okay, they cleaned it out. Aired them out, ran everybody off, took all the automotive industry out of there, and now I haven't even been there. And that's again my next move. Once I finish what I'm doing here, I need to get to Michigan because I have to see what's going on over there. Why? Because the last time I was there, which was what, 15 years ago now? It's about 15 years ago. It was again just whole cities, just empty houses. Okay, some dilapidated, some in great condition. empty houses. Now I checked a couple of years ago after COVID to see, okay, the prices are now from the 50 to the 150. Some are all the way up to 200,000. And I mean, again, these are of course closer to the West, but guess who's buying all of it up now? First, when 15 years ago, a lot of Asians were coming in. And that's when I was telling everybody in Georgia, yo, I know a little couple who went to the east side. No, they're from the east side of Detroit, but they found a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom closer to the West, which is closer to Southfield, which is closer to civilization. Okay. And I think they paid what, $2,500 cash. Might have been $3,000, $3,500 cash. And then monthly they pay so that at the end of the year, they're not paying taxes. Okay. So this was happening then. And I'm like, not only, so when you file your taxes, go buy some of that. I was actually going to invest in a 2-family flat with a so-called friend. And then she decided that she was going to go try to buy the flat that I found again. But that's how niggas do. That's how Negroes do. That's why we ain't got shit. But at the end of the day, like I said, right now, same thing. We need to be getting into real estate and we need to make this cry. I'm not going to expand it because again, I'm a big proponent for self-reparation and coming up, we talk about self-repair. We talk about, mitigating, our damages in this situation, okay, as much as we can. And we have, like I said, there are programs and there are initiatives that are really, mainly in my opinion, we're ignorant to them. Let's just put it like that. They're there and they're almost catering to immigrants, okay, or immigrants, more business people who are immigrants. But we need to start getting our real estate licenses. We need to get economically sound. We need to start understanding credit, and we need to start investing in property. We need to start figuring out how to get into this game, whether we're buying, selling, flipping, whatever it is, and make sure you are an owner of some kind of land. I mean, again, when we talk about real estate, we're talking about commercial, we're talking about, real property, personal, private properties. We're talking about, multi-family units. We're talking about acres of land. We're talking about you actually start having a homestead. You can have a homestead where people can bring in their tract homes or mobile homes. I mean, there are so many ways that we as Black Native Americans need to start taking our reparation. Because again, although some of these programs look and appear to cater to immigrants and whatnot, there are ways to set your entity up the same way somebody comes in here as a foreigner. And we as Black people need to know about credit. We also need to know our rights to have right to business. Okay. You need to know how to run a business, start a business, pay your initial taxes on your business. And you need to know how, when you're speaking to banks, because again, if you're ignorant, a bank can force you to disclose your personal credit. Now, again, not that you should always have some decent personal credit, but you should never intermingle those credits. Okay. And when your business credit starts, you start that from scratch, just like a foreign person or an immigrant comes and starts their whole life from scratch. You get to do your business the same way. You run your monies through that business and keep your personal separate. Now, sometimes it'll overlap, but down the line, when you know what you're doing, you figure out, how you're going to do, because you better be good at accounting when you start overlapping certain business. But at the end of the day, we have to be actively involved in the fight for reparations, and we need to get involved in some self-repair, meaning taking our reparations and understanding what that means. That means that you have to do the research and find out, okay, you see a family come in and, okay, say there's a flower. I don't want to say anything, whatever, stereotypical. So a flower shop. and it's been this one family, an immigrant family from wherever. That's why I said flower shop. And then you see, it looks like more family, right? But this is 10 years later. It's the same family, but it's a younger generation come in and take over that business, right? That's called generational wealth. There's a way and a reason why they're doing it like that, and you can do the very same thing. That's, again. Also, we need to understand government contracts and how important that is. And I'm going to tell you that at 27 years old, that's when I started dealing with the government and contracts and understanding that this is a system where if you are in social services and you know how to conduct yourself, okay, and you know how to make sure that you are crossing T's and dotting I's, you can always have a safety net when it comes to the economy, because your finances are based on social services and making sure that you're feeding others. So you know how that is. If you're able to be the lender and not the borrower, that puts you in a position that's important in this game. Or not even this game. Like I said, it's not a game. It's really an art. There's an art to life. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want to master, whatever lane we are. Because I'm not going to say we're all, there have to be people who need the services, and then there have to be people on the other side providing these services. What I am maintaining as American citizens who are the foundation of this nation, not just foundational Blacks, but foundational Americans, because we got all this blood running through our veins, okay? We need to be on the other end, okay? We no longer need to be sitting on the end begging nobody for nothing. But if we stay positioned where we have to beg others for stuff, whose fault is that? So position yourselves, okay, for number one, success. Position yourselves to serve the community and the people, okay? And if you're positioned in that way, as long as you can be of service, you're going to always be given government funding and resources. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about having the resources, the finances, the resources, and the connections, okay, to be viable people in society, moving the society in the proper direction. And again, we need to stop monkey shining. We need to stop shucking and jiving. We need to stop trying to whatever this is, this whole like I said, we're trying to help everybody but ourselves. When you over here limping, trying to give somebody else a hand up, you can't. Until you can stand strong on your own 2 feet, you can't help nobody. And until you take the initiative to understand what your situation is, and then plant yourself in positions and get to learning, get to growing, get to whatever you need to do to position yourself to be of service. And I guarantee you that position of service will bring power. Okay. And when I say power, I mean real power, not this Black power empowerment. No, I mean, seriously, if you know how to deal with government contracts, and if you are willing to do the work, okay, because you can't open a shelter, you can't put together a project. And when I say a project, I mean, the projects, the Imperials, the this ones, the projects, the ghetto, the projects. Those are multi-million-dollar projects. Okay, and again, if we are the ones setting up the project, then the project doesn't necessarily have to just be to lease, right? We can actually come up with a business plan, a proposal for a project that entails, again, like many have done. We're ignorant to it. And when we start finding out about it, we start finding out that we shaved off, okay? Like I said, there's a whole project in Irvine Well, I was living in it. Again, I lived in Irvine. That's why I found out about it. And I put myself, no, it's a lottery and it's blah, 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 right? But again, how is it a lottery and barely anybody knows about it? But it was for condos, not to rent them with housing choice vouchers, to buy them. Okay? To buy them. So again, while we all this Section 8, there's no such thing as Section 8. Let's be clear. They phased out Section 8 in the 90s. Okay. So when they did, and they tore down half of the projects in a lot of states, not here on the West Coast, but down south, they took a lot of those projects down because, again, a lot of those projects were built with Section 8 in mind. So they're, not really whatever, but they gave the people who lived in these project apartments, they gave them vouchers to either go rent a house, rent an apartment, and they explained to them that you can get in a family self-sufficiency program and fix your credit and save money and start an escrow account with whatever. And it's a whole program where you can spend like 3 to 5 years saving your down payment, which is however this program works. They put it in an escrow account, and that can be your down payment for your first time home ownership program. And then once you get to that point, they send you to these orientations where there are multiple different cities that have all these different programs that you can combine them and potentially come up to $250,000 in just different programs that'll help you pay for a house. So a house that's $600,000 or $400,000 can be all the way down to $150,000, $200,000, right? By the time you get this, that, and the other, and you've saved up your lump sum of money for closing costs, this and that. But there are programs where one program might be for $50,000, another one might be for $45,000, another one might be for we'll match whatever you have, and then another one might be we'll pay all the closing costs and taxes. Okay, so again, all of this is catering to people repairing themselves, positioning themselves, and we need to understand that the same way that there are programs out there for other people, there are programs that we probably are not being told about, but we need to inquire and we need to go ape shit on them if we don't get the answers that we're asking for, period. Again, I am in the process of getting my real estate license because, again, I'm going to be my own customer. Okay, so I'm going to get the commission on my sale of my house and all that. And I'm going to, again, I believe in taking reparations. Trust me. And my mindset is get serious and start showing. Not too much talking. Only reason why I'm talking right now about my real estate because I'm 2 weeks away from my last class. So now I'll talk about it. Now, last semester you didn't hear me say nothing about it because why? Now's the time to speak. Like I told you. Be discreet till you're almost there, okay? Because you don't know about these demons and demonic spirits, okay? But again, at the end of the day, even that we don't have enough time to be concerned with anything other than our goals. We need to have tunnel vision. We need to understand and be focused. We need to stop trying to help other people. We need to stop campaigning and plugging other races of people in hopes that they will link arms when they ain't never linked arms. They ain't never cared. Like I said, there's an issue with the Black and brown community, the Black and brown, Black, and all of us. There's an issue with Black natives and Latin Americans, and we need to discuss it. Okay, and I already understand that they have their own dynamic of Mexican and Mexican American and all the other, whatever might be going on, and that's fine. Just like we have our own bull crap with our colors, but whatever that is, we need to leave that alone, and we need to get an understanding that no matter what, we need to discuss this thing that because I'm telling you, sisters like me, we're not standing for it, and I have never really had to deal with anything just over the top disrespectful and when and I'm one of those people that people know not to play with. Like I don't come across at all as somebody to play with, but I can tell by the test that I have had going around me. People, they'll test you. Let's start this. Let's start with this. I understand that, you know, maybe 10 years ago, it was something to be bilingual. Well, now it's not that big of a deal, number one. And I say the same thing that I said before. You're not doing nobody a favor, you being bilingual, catering to somebody in America who doesn't speak English. Okay, you're not doing them a service. You're actually doing them a disservice, keeping them handicapped. That's why I said all those signs in Spanish all over East LA and barely one. Again, you're not doing anybody a favor. What you're doing is keeping them trapped over in those neighborhoods. Okay, because they can't even leave those neighborhoods because they don't. You're not forcing them to do what every other immigrant does, which is learn English. Hello. Now, you know, years ago I said it and folks got mad. Okay, I'm saying it again, and I don't care who gets mad because, again, not only were they using it then as a weapon against us as far as trying to figure out a way to not let us in the job market, right? So I'm way more educated than the average Hispanic woman. Sorry, facts, okay? But I couldn't get certain jobs because I wasn't bilingual. The fuck out of here. And I say that with a big get the fuck out of here because that's ridiculous, okay? This is not Mexico, and you are not helping nobody by not making sure that they get into some ESL classes and get to learn the basic English. And okay, so the next thing I want to say, and I'm going even further, and this is something for my black folks, okay? I'm a little older. Y'all knows that. I ain't even auntie. I'm damn near nana, okay, around this thing. But we need to be having our children from an early age, and I'm saying now, and I'm saying this because I myself, because I've been able to speak broken, what is it, like whatever, I'm black skin, so I go back and forth and whatever, but it's nowhere near literacy. And I'm saying this, to eliminate that whole, number one, to eliminate the division, and also to eliminate the language barrier that some try to target, because they'll literally be like, I'm looking like, first, that's why I said it's really hard to offend me when you ain't spit, okay? But you over ain't spit trying to talk in Spanish to each other. I don't care. And then they'll see me listening because I'll look at you like I know what you're saying, whether I know all of it or not, right? So then they start whispering. And again, you got to fix that. We got to deal with whatever you think that is, because again, that even going into stores where it's like, oh, you first of all, you're a cashier, boo, at the liquor store or at the 7-Eleven or whatever, at the gas station, whatever, and you're because you see them immediately through the door and then they look your race, right? And I come through and he's barely anything, and then it's half a whisper. Again, you better get your respect up, because again, that's a problem, bruh. Like the young folk like to say, bruh, sis. No, I like to say sis. Well, that's a problem, and we need to deal with that, and we need to get a clear understanding that Black folk ain't got. Let me say this: Black Native American women ain't got no fear of no Mexicans women's. Okay, we ain't got no fear of you taking our men, because the ones that want you can have you. Okay, that's period. And that anybody, like, we're not living under those guises. Okay, and you need to save that, because it's really just low. It's pathetic. Okay, and it's again, it becomes a whole thing of disrespect, because you can't be with a Black man, okay, and then turning your nose up at Black women. Would you turning your nose up at his Black mama and his Black sisters? You think you're better than his mama and his sisters? You're not. And you're probably dealing with a nigga with a whole bunch of self-hate going on, and you might have to pay the price for that self-hate. So while you're thinking you're doing something, let's be clear, we got a problem going on within our community, because we are sharing most of our communities. And there's a huge divide because we have these people, these new generation Mexicans, because I'm telling you, I grew up with my Mexicans. If people who know me know I grew up with real Mexicans, Mexican Americans for real. Like their parents, again, barely spoke English. So that's why I said these ones coming in now, that Mexican Americans that I grew up with understand that they wanted their parents to learn English, and some of them taught their parents English. And a lot of the parents may not be able to write, so they don't have proper literacy, but they speak enough English because, again, their children want them to know English. So why, again, do you think you're doing your so-called brothers and sisters in the, you will remember La Raza, remember literacy, remember competence, remember respect, okay? Be a group of people who got some respect and honor for everybody, especially the Black natives of America, because, again, I'm your mama. Thought I wouldn't, because I am, okay? And again, we got this colorism that goes on within our own, and especially outside of ourselves. So again, you know, look at me, all you two doctors, I don't give a damn what anybody thought, because I've never been that one. I've never been the one to let nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. No, because I've been treated too well by all people. Okay, I've had too many Caucasian people treat me well. Okay, I've had wonderful Black people treat me well, wonderful Africans, wonderful Islanders, wonderful Mexicans. Like I said, my Mexicans, mine. You hear me saying mine? Okay, so you others outside of the realm of decency, I ain't worried about you. I'm not worried about no ignorant Black Native American nigga who got self-hate going on, who don't love themselves and always talking about race don't matter, race don't matter. Race won't matter when we get our reparations. That's when we can throw the race card. Because again, we didn't make race matter. They did. They did. But ain't no Black person cried for racism. Please be racist towards me. Beat my people, rape my people, call my people animals. No, that never happened. Okay. So race won't matter when we even this playing field and give Black Native Americans their reparations, just like you gave the fake Jews some reparation. Give the real Hebrew Israelites some. Give the real children of Israel coming from the four corners of the earth. We're the only ones in this generation, this now generation, who came from the four corners of the earth, and we sit in a foreign land, supposedly not our own. And the only reason why it ain't our own, because again, we got so much foreign blood running through our veins, right? Give us our reparations, okay? And that's a real crime. And that's not, again, people have the nerve to act like we're the first people saying this. There's nobody right now who sparked this movement. There ain't nobody from the 90s, okay, early 2000s to this day. Ain't nobody started this movement. This is an ongoing movement, okay? And again, Black folk need to start rioting at these, picketing at these polls, okay? And you need to get, if you're going to be politically involved, you need to be involved in your local politics, because again, you got these governors who are scared to govern. Fuck is that? And again, I gotta watch my mouth, because why? If you elect or you stand idly by for 4 years until it's time to vote for the president, but you ain't worried about your city council man or woman, you're not worried about these people who are pushing these pens locally, giving away, millions of dollars in credit cards to New York State, okay? Because that ain't happening over here in California, and it probably will never happen in California, because they all got visas, work visas, and they got they can go right visas. What else do they need? And then, if they want to be all up in here and up there, again, we have been dealing with what the nation is dealing with right now. We've been dealing with this forever. That's why you hear a little bit about San Diego and whatever, but they've been doing that. That ain't no new stuff. But the new stuff is the people coming from, Africa and here and there, because again, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for the poor people or the average income people, because you have to have money to believe it or not. Okay, and I'm saying, except for, of course, asylum seekers, and even then, over time, the thought is we're going to invest, and that's what they're doing right now. That's what I'm saying. Y'all better get y'all reparations. Y'all better start for. We better start fighting for it, because once they acclimate these folks into our community, okay, the expectation is we're investing this money in you so that you come here and you bring something to this country, namely your voting power, right? Okay, again, there are a number of people who have been here for maybe 4 years from Russia to Ukraine. They got social security numbers, they got work visas. I mean, they don't need work visas. They had work visas. Now they got social security numbers. They're good. They're American. Okay. And then we have people who come from Mexico and all kinds of places in Central America. And, and they got work. They've been working, like I said, on the plantation. They've been in Texas. They've been in New Mexico. They've been coming across that border in San Diego with that work visa, waiting, and cannot afford, a lot of the luxuries that they probably could get if they could afford. Whereas and now these people are just, well, I'll take a plane from, Uganda, and I'll claim asylum once I, run through Mexico, and then up through Texas, and get on a bus, shoot up to Chicago or New York. And then, okay, so another thing back to that. Another thing that they were saying, and I'm getting out of here. A lot of them are going to like Hawaii because it's hard to find, and you can live, not off the grid, but you can, once you have a baby, you good, basically. And then they're going to Australia, so that bye to the ones going to Australia. But again, this is an issue that sooner than later, if we don't superimpose our issues like they do, again, we need to give them a taste of their own medicine, okay, and stop politicking with these fools. Do what they do. Okay, well, let me tell you, see what I did? Okay, let's talk about the immigration situation. Back to reparations. Superimpose our issues. Okay, start going just like those folks did in those local meetings. You need to do the same thing. You need to go right in there talking about whatever the issues are that they're talking about. They're talking about we want steaks for lunch every third Friday. Okay, you go right in there and say, along with the steaks for lunch, we want reparations. Because again, same thing with the gay rights and the gay folk. Okay, we talking about this and that. Next, Black Lives Matter. Next thing you know, with a Black Lives, and once again, this happened to me. Black Lives Matter. I'm minding my business in Lamar Park, right? I'm like, oh, Black Lives Matter. Whatever. This was around when I first got back to California. Okay, so I'm like, let's see how I roll out here. So Black Lives Matter. And all this and all that. So I'm like, I was actually working. So I'm like, oh, I'm working. Okay, let me go over here. So they all gather around there, the same people. I can't even think of that man's name because I don't like his ass. Okay, so it's fake ass. Y'all know who it is. Y'all probably know exactly who his old fake activist ass is. But anyway, so I'm over there, and they like, they calling people because they fake. Okay, so they done called a press conference or whatever it was, and they calling people, trying to make it seem like all these people are gathered that ain't really gathered. They don't even know I'm a real activist. So I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. One person started talking. I'm like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. All right. Okay, I'm with this. I'm saying I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I'm not even on the side of the camera because I don't care. Like, I just want to see what's going on. So then, after I might have been 2 speakers, I don't know. But like I said, it was enough going on where I was all hyped in it. I stopped working because at the time I was doing whatever I was doing. So I had a booth and I was giving away the phones and doing whatever I was doing. I don't know. And then a trans, clearly a man in a dress, okay? F that. Clearly a man in a dress, a he, she, Hispanic, Latino, whatever it is, Latinx. Can we get that on the LGIOIOs? Legit. Let me quiet. Okay, yeah. So it had an accent and was speaking, dressed, clearly looked like a man, clearly looked like a trans, and then trying to talk like a woman, sounding like a trans man about Black Lives Matter. So, you know, my black ass, I was like, hey, did y'all need a black woman? Because this a whole man and man, the man was gonna beat me up. I can't think of that man's name because I need to put his ass on blast. The fake activist from that's why I don't even do Al Sharpton's group no more because he claimed he was with them. I'm in Cobra. I was like, oh, you within Cobra for real? Well, I'm gonna have to leave them alone because you a fool. Yeah, he jumped all in my face because I was appalled, and he's like, we paid for this. First of all, you ain't supposed to pay for no press conferences, are you? But okay. So he said he paid for it. And I said, well, if you're paying for this, why didn't you call and get some black people to represent? Why would you? And I'm asking, yeah, who do you think you are? I said, I don't even have to think. I don't think. So if you don't know who I am up in the Merck Park, nigga, you old. That's all that means. Because everybody else know who I am. Okay. And at the end of the day, this man was ready to fight me. Okay, this old ass man, at least 10, 15 years older than me, and then they telling me leave him alone, he got cancer or some shit. I'm like, what the hell does cancer got to do with me? So he gets to like boss up against me because I am totally anti whatever they're trying to pull off here. But again, and these are your Negroes about this entertainment and this bullcrap. That's why I said, don't tell me nothing about no Black Lives Matter if you ain't talking about reparations, because that's what matters. Reparations matter. Okay, Black Lives Matter, then you know damn well reparations matter. Okay, and again, okay, now this what I propose to your ignorant ass in Cobra. If you can get the Black, Latino, trans community to talk about Black Lives Matter, how about you get the whole Latino community, including some of those black like Puerto Ricans and stuff. They need their reparations too. Okay, so I think yeah, Puerto Ricans, you know, I like my Puerto Ricans and they American. So we need our reparations, okay, and we need to be serious about it, and we need to have all of our Latinos and Latinas and Latinx. We need all of y'all to gather around and rally for reparations the way you so-called was rallying and ready to have Negroes fight me for Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, but yet you finna beat up a black woman. Well, after you, what the hell you got a transsexual Latinx talking about Black Lives Matter up in Leimert Park. Like, this is Leimert Park, okay? It's not like you in East LA or Watts or some Compton. No, you're in Leimert Park. There are no Mexicans in Leimert Park, okay? That's probably the only little area that we hold down still, okay? Now, we got a whole bunch of Caucasians and students from USC and all the way from Cal Arts coming down into Leimert Park, but those are students coming to visit. I'm talking about the actual locals. They're black. They're black. So if you really wanted somebody to speak, and you got community activists, but the thing about Los Angeles is they're such colorist, self-hate Negroes, okay? They barely talk to real black women. They only like to talk to mixed black women, Okay. And again, that comes from back historical with all that light skin, dark skin, Creole. Now it's like, it's not even Creole. It's, oh, we just want somebody who's mixed with something else, you know, and preferably the woman is something else. And the man, because they get real mad when a black woman is with other men. And in fact, to me, that's the best thing for black women. I'm keeping it 100. If I meet me a non-black good man in my age, that's where I'm going, because I done gave black men a chance, and y'all are a mess, okay? And y'all got way too many problems. Now, of course, like I said, I've never dated a non-black man. I dated a couple of mixed men, and I don't even really like that. But now I'm back to mixed or non-black, because again, I mean, it don't have to be mixed, but something about you black men, you got problems. You got problems. And that's why we can't really get on one accord with this reparations situation, because black men are so busy hating themselves, hating their moms, hating black women, and trying to prove that, you know, there's something better than a black woman, which again, where there might be something better for you than a black woman, that's fine. Hopefully you're doing it because of love and whatever. And me, if I ever go all the way outside of my race, like meaning not a mixed person, but a whole other race of person, even an African, and I ain't trying to be funny, but I don't even like African men. That's not my flavor. And I don't even like islanders. I don't. And I have West Indian heritage in my own family, and I'm not drawn to Jamaican, Trinidadian, Belizean, Latin. And I'm not, I mean, other than Puerto Rican, and Puerto Rican is American. And that's again, because told you I got a love for my peoples. And again, when I say my peoples, I'm talking about I grew up in Los Angeles, okay? So I grew up around real Puerto Ricans who knew they was spicy. They knew they was black and Mexican pretty much. And, or, well, you know, they're black and Latin rooted, and they was good with it, and they was loving it, and they loved their black people, and they just loved life, okay? And even my Mexican friends, they loved being Mexican, and we loved them being Mexican, and we loved being black, and it was just a real thing. What's going on now with everybody not being able to love themselves and appreciate others? I have no idea, but I'm not living in that falsity, okay? So if you all, you know, can actually maintain in chaotic situations where we're dealing with a group of people who can't exist in love and in respect for our differences, you know, as well as our similarities, then I don't want to be a part of that, okay? And I prefer those people, you know, not be a part of any kind of group. You know, you can, you know, you should alienate yourself with your wicked thoughts and your wicked devices. You need to be a part of that kind of community. You don't need to bring that kind of thought into a group of people who don't need that, because again, one rotten apple will spoil the whole bunch, right? So we need to be better, and we need to be discerning of who we are letting in our circle and who we're listening to, because you can't even listen to someone who doesn't have self-love, and then you can't listen to someone who doesn't have love of others and love of community, and you certainly can't deal with someone who wants to deflect and have all of their insecurities pushed on you. So I'm about to go, but I'm going to end this with, again, we need to be fighting for reparations. This has me sweating. We need to be fighting for reparations, and we need to always, whatever the conversation is, we need to stop trying to save others, and we need to be serious about saving ourselves, saving our community. And whenever there is a conversation, interject reparations, okay? That's the call, that's the cry. Whether we're talking about the school, whether you're in a PTA meeting, talk about reparations, talk about fixing the curriculums, and that's again, we need to get in these PTAs, in these school districts, and you need to start slamming these history books, because they are critically off. Okay, we're not even going to talk about that other stuff going on with the children, the trans and the sports, but just that alone. Let's talk about the curriculums and how they need to be revamped. Okay, and we need to stay on a forward movement for our people to stop being clowns, stop being entertainers, stop being the help. You're not here to be the help. Now, you could create community services that build contracts and are making our communities better. But as far as being the help and coming to everybody else's rescue, when ain't nobody over here coming to your rescue, we need to knock that off. Okay, the days of that is long gone. We need to knock that off. We need to stop that. And we need to stand 10 toes down on our own personal business, which is our tax dollars are not going to know. Because again, I think that there should be boycotts. We need to figure out a way. They can't do it if you don't file your taxes. Okay, if you decide that you're not, there has to be some kind of rebellion that can take place. Okay, when you have crooked people in office, and then you have a president who is just off. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say anything else about the president other than we all know that he is demented. Okay, so like I said, he and Wendy Williams are on the same train, except for he gets to run the country and she has to go to a rehabilitation center. How does that work? You all stop playing, stop entertaining, stop being the help, get off your black butts and make sure that you make your votes count. Not just for president, but if you're voting, you better vote for your local government, okay? Because those people who are governing are the ones that are pushing those pins, giving away your tax dollars while telling you that your ancestors' 40 acres is not due. It's way past due. Stop telling us about what you ain't willing to pay and why should you pay. First of all, what do you mean pay? You need to get up off. It's the difference between paying somebody and getting up off somebody's land, okay? Come up off it. Come up off that land. Come up off that gold. Come up off them dollars, period. Give us what was already ours. Don't give us something that wasn't ours. Give us what's rightfully ours now. Now, this now generation. And like I said, this now generation, talking about the ones that are being born tomorrow to the ones that might be up out of here in a week or two. All of us got the same cry. Okay, reparations now. Our tax dollars do not belong on no cards, on no credit cards, debit cards to folk family homes coming from across the water, across the pond, or wherever they're coming from. Okay, again, nobody else gets to do that. You legal immigrants, you need to be crying the same thing. Hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no. I had to pay the price. I had to pay. But I mean, if there's a price on every paperwork, everything that you file in court to get American citizenship, you can't even sign your name without running that debit card. Maybe that's what they're giving them the cards for, because again, they need to start paying. And I stated it before, and I'm gonna say it again. We need to vote not on who we like and whose bedroom antics and who. No, we need to vote on the person who has enough sense to close the borders and whoever is here, because once you close the borders, you got to do something about the millions of people who are here already. It needs to be a wash. You need to check them, figure out if they're here legally, not legally. If they're here not legally seeking asylum, can they pay? Okay, you came here illegally. So now you claim you seeking asylum. We don't know that because you came here illegally. So now you gotta pay. If you cannot pay, you gotta get out of here. Okay, they get a one-way ticket the hell back where they came from. And then the countries like Cuba, tell Cuba to deport. If you want to send your prisoners here, you can send them here, and we're gonna put them in prison here, right? We're going to free our political prisoners and we'll put them in here, your real prisoners who are a danger to women and men in our community. We'll make them stay in prison for the rest of their life if you need them to be there, but they're not going to be a part of America. They're going to work in prison. Those are our slaves. Those are our slaves. Okay? People coming ass over here illegally, can't pay, and are criminals. And your government don't want you, so you over here, okay, lock their ass up. Okay? And then the ones who have to work at those prisons, you need to be making sure that you get paid more. Your city needs to be paying you more for housing and taking care of criminals that came from across the water. Then, again, you need to have a president in office who's going to contact Cuba, right? And be like, we got all of these people accounted for in our prisons. This is how much it's costing us. If you want them to stay here indefinitely, we're going to have a nice little financial treaty situation popping off over here. And again, it's done. It's done. The same way they came up with this scam they got going on to replace whoever they call themselves replacing now. For whatever reason, they know a lot of this population going to prison. That's why they don't care. Okay? But again, who's paying? Because your tax dollars paying for the prisoners too. No. That's a no. That's a firm no. And you better get a president in office who understands that that's a firm no. If you want us to house your prisoners, Cuba, you need to pay for them motherfuckers. You need to feed them. You need to send the money this way, because this is not, this is no longer a flop house. Okay? You can't be coming in from everywhere, flopping in on America and expect its citizens to tolerate it. And the citizens, you better not be fools enough to allow these. So you need to throw them governors out of their office. Okay, you know how to get them out. Okay, do your research. Get them out of there. Get them out of there. You know they addresses. Stand in front of their door and act the fool. Okay, you need to bring it to their door. They don't want to listen. Take it to Maria Garcia's door. Step. Bet you her motherfucking ass will listen in. Okay, and that's a fact. Those people work for you. They work for you. You may not have elected them because your ass ain't up in there voting for them, but they in there. They work for you. If they're not doing their job, get their ass out. Get their ass out. And if you can't do it one way, it's a million ways to skin a cat, honey. Can't nobody stop you from protesting across the street from your governor, from your city council person. Nobody. It's legal. So put your foot down and make it count. Okay, and I'm talking about this now generation. I'm not talking about the poor. I'm not talking about the rich. I'm talking about all of us. Okay, and again, you better be ready to switch lanes if need be. If you riding that Republican lane and you cannot stand a Trump, then you better figure out an independent lane or down ballot. Get it in, whatever it has to be. If you're a Democrat, but you're not, and you've been and you're loyal to that party, you down ballot or you better go find some independents, damn it. Don't be a fool. If you claim that your ancestors gave you the right to vote, then you better make your vote count. Make it count. And if you take staying home, guess what? That's the count. That counts too. That counts as well. But again, make sure your voice is heard. Don't let it be in vain. Don't let nobody trick you into thinking that you owe a party something that you don't owe them. You owe Kamala and Biden nothing because they've done nothing for you. Nothing. Tell them to get the LGBTQIEIEIOs to get them back in office. Let's see if we got enough for them. Because we don't. If not enough, even though they want to flood our media with all that crap, there's not enough actual LGBTQIEIOs on the farm, okay, to get nobody elected. If Trump was working and waiting on all the trans to get him in office, he'd be waiting in vain for some love, okay? That's it. So get involved, be for real, stop playing, stop fronting, stop letting these people trick you, okay? Stop letting them trick you. This is not a game. And there is a serious art to this life. And if we don't start drawing a proper picture, we're going to be out of the picture. Understand that? And that's a real thing. Okay? So that's just my opinion. You heard the opinion of others. That's why I said I made sure some other opinions are up there so you won't think I'm the only one on my soapbox. Okay. You all be good, be tender. So glad that I made it here tonight. You know, a little improv and smoothing it out. But I will see you all again next month. And next month I'm gonna bring in. So I'm trying to get a surprise. I'm trying to build up a little more momentum and have some things going. And again, like I said, I'm in classes, so y'all. So forgive me for being tardy to the party sometimes, for being naughty at the party sometimes, for being a little unprepared. But I am over here again, not doing a lot of talking, but a lot of working, a lot of boots on the ground, or pumps on the ground, however you want to see it. Because I got to be having pumps on the ground too. Okay, getting it in. Making moves, sitting at master's feet, being glued to the computer on my learning soapbox, and that's all important. And I'm doing this again, not just for minds, not for my baby rest in peace, not for my grown ones struggling and striving right here and now, so that they know that if their mama can do it, they can do even better, bigger things. So I'm doing it for this now generation, for the young ones, for the old ones, for the in-betweens, all of us. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're standing, or when you're starting. Just start. Whatever it is, wherever you see yourself, whatever lane you find yourself in, get in that lane, master that lane, and ride that sucker out. Okay, till we get to the hereafter. Okay. And again, when we leave this physical plane, we want to be an important legacy building part of this wheel of life. Okay, when it keeps on turning, okay, and your turn is up, you want to have left behind a legacy for those young ones that you gave birth to, your seed and the seeds that are coming, right? And that's it. And it starts with repair for our people. Okay. None of us were in the womb, okay, saying, I want to be a part of this now generation of Black Native Americans who have to fight like nobody else in the world for respect in our own country, in our own land. Okay, we didn't ask for this, but guess what? God would not have put us here if we weren't fit for this. So we're fit for it, okay? And again, I beg of thee out there, stop monkey shining, stop buffooning. And when you get, and if that's your way to get to a level, so that once you get to that level, now you can get it off. Once you get up there, Cat Williams, I want to see you talk some real talk. I mean, he talked a little bit of real talk, but nobody has stood up. And I have a feeling y'all fronting on a few people, but I have a feeling that it's a few brothers and sisters. I'm listening to you, and I'm hearing you, and I'm here. Trust me, I'm praying for you, and I'm your spiritual sister, and I know that you're doing what you're doing, so that when you get in a position, you can be that voice. You can be that voice. You know what I mean? Because again, I am not that one. I'm not that one, and I don't pretend to be that one. But there's somebody out there who can open the door for me, and ones like me, because you have been able to master this art to a level, okay? And I need y'all in positions of power to now use that power. And the same way Ronald Reagan was an actor. Listen, brothers and sisters out there, Taraji, very educated sister. She crying about movie roles and stuff. Babes, you can do that, but guess what? You have a platform now where in the world of politics and that education that you have, you can do some things in your local community that can have a global impact. Okay. So, again, stop monkey shining and being the help and entertaining and start recognizing that our time is running out. Okay. Every day that we wake up, we're closer to the end. Okay. Whether it's the rapture or it's your life cycle, right? And nobody's gonna live forever. So what are you leaving here? What are you leaving? And what will your grandchildren and great grandchildren and great grandchildren say about you? What will it be? Okay. Again, I tell everybody, and I'm gonna really get out of here. I tell everybody it's important that we make sure that we account for our history, because as you can see, nobody is going to be responsible for accounting for our history. And if you leave it to these people who ignore Black Native Americans and want to just lump us in with immigrants, okay? If you leave it up to them, they will erase us and all of our inventions and things that we brought to the forefront and brought to this society. Next thing you know, once again, you already hear Jamaicans talking about they created hip hop. Okay, what are you talking about? You created the Watts Prophets? Think the Watts Prophets needed a Jamaican? No, you didn't. You created rap. No, you didn't. And again, we need to record our own history and stop letting other people just be the voice. Because at the end of the day, you let the other people tell your story and you don't tell your own story, then it's your fault when it's a false account. It's a faulty account. It's not a true account. So start doing what you need to do. And like I said, please do it put it in writing, be a scribe about it. Don't be dependent on pictures and the internet and these places to host your stuff. You need to journal, you need to write, you need to publish, okay? To keep a record of who you are, who your family is, okay? Because again, if you let somebody else record who you are 500 years from now, you might not be written in history at all. You might be written out. You might be a whole folktale. Okay, they may have combined you, your grandmother, and your great-grandmother all into one person, because again, people who don't care about you will condense your history and make up crap and just, that's that. Okay, so yes, thank you. And that's what we have to be. We have to be know our history, and we need to be activists, and we need to be serious about, being an important part and a pivotal part of our society, and not just the like the chosen few get to speak for the host of us, and then the chosen few that are speaking are the ones who get what they get, and we just get the leftovers and the crumbs because we're over here being quiet, allowing people and helping them and helping the Black and brown and all this crazy stuff, right? While a select group of Black people are getting what they're getting, all the brown people are getting what they're getting, and then there's these, invisible Black people who are so busy helping and entertaining and buffooning, they don't recognize that they're slipping away. And they're being counted out for real. Okay, and you'll be talking about 300 years from now, Cat Williams, as the clown of the year. Okay, you was the clown. You was a clown. You was a wannabe educated clown. You talk like you were educated. However, your actions weren't all that, Anybody can be smart, but are your actions intelligible? Because there's a whole lot of smart people who are having problems in life because their actions are not correct. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm out. And before I get out of here, and court is adjourned, right? We'll be back.